I'm just gonna start recording, I guess.
We could do Minecraft where we all have 1 frame per second.
No, that's just normal Minecraft. Ever since my last video, I've been in the lab, been trying to find a new way to get sand out there faster and more efficiently, and I do believe I've found it. So the big issue with my old sand pusher machine was it was not a zero-tick system, so it would push sand out rather slowly. I don't actually know what the rate is, but it wasn't very fast. It was like maybe 2 per second, or like 3 per second or something. Actually, no, it was about 2.5. That's right, because it was hopper speed. But if you zero-tick pistons, you can double that speed, just about. So I wanted to have a zero-tick system. However, this presented some difficulties, but as it turned out, the difficulties were not non-existent, but they didn't matter because with the right timings, everything just sort of fixes itself. And the other issue was, if I was to use zero-tick systems, it would be better to, instead of moving along the sand, having a giant hopper stream from my sand system, my central sand storage, to the actual place it needs to be, was too expensive. So instead, we're going to be using block streams, so we can just add onto the end of it and keep zigzagging it across like so. So if you can imagine, this is the side of the base, and the water extends out this way. These, every time one is filled, instead of clearing it out and using the sand again, we'll just add on to the end and continue off into the distance. However, you're only able to do every other, because of the way this is set up, you're only able to implement this on every other row. So you had to have a gap of 12 blocks, and then actual sand for 12 blocks, and so on. So what I did is I just made 2 of them alternating and stacked them. So as you can see, there's one here on the lower level, and there's one here on the upper level. Then it'll go back to the lower level, and so on and so forth. What this means is we can double the speed again by having 2 accounts both placing sand at 2 different positions on the 2 levels. So with this change, we have quadrupled the speed of the sand placement. Now, the rest of it still works the exact same. They'll just be offset, and there'll be a bit of setup difficulty with the way the redstone lines are, but it won't be an issue. So all there is now is to really go implement it on the server. So as you can see, I've put a little bit of work in trying to get these sand lines all set up. It's mostly ready to start placing sand again, at least in this area. However, of course, the actual extenders need to be put in place, and that's going to take quite a while. However, one more thing I did find out is that I don't actually need an extra account to stand in the middle of the sand row in order to load the chunks, because in this version, you can load chunks with hoppers. While this does not work with entities, it will work with basically everything else, such as redstone and pushing blocks. So all I need to do is have essentially a system of hoppers, one in each chunk, that faces into the next chunk, because it always continually checks in that next chunk, to extend the loaded chunks all the way down the row. And the neat thing is that because entities don't work, but sand pushing does, the sand just falls instantly. It doesn't spawn an entity, it just teleports down, which hopefully won't cause any issues, but we'll have to see. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get that built up, and then I'm going to whack down some sand and see what happens.